welcome back to Unfiltered Kitchen. I am your host, Cheyenne.
I am your co-host, Papa Floyd.
Yeah. I don't know.
You don't like that?
I don't know. Like, we're both hosts. So is a co-host the same level as a host?
I think so.
Okay. Well,
yes, it's a shared responsibility.
Let's not get into logistics.
Man, I heard a whole... It was actually a podcast. I can't remember the name of it, but it was talking about executive co-host.
Okay.
Like in big business, big, $1 million companies.
Yeah.
That had two CEOs.
I thought it was a CEO, a COO, a CFO.
Yes, but if let's say me and you start a business.
We're both CEOs.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was talking about the advantages and disadvantages of co-executives.
Mm-hmm.
And some companies have done really well with it. And then some companies like BlackBerry, remember the BlackBerries?
Like the phones?
Yes, no. After you had pagers,
yeah,
BlackBerries.
Yeah, it was like a little phone thing.
Right. So that
it looked like a little Palm Pilot.
Right. Uh-huh. So that company was a $20 billion company, and then the phone industry started coming in.
Okay,
because remember it was pagers, then it was the BlackBerry, then it was phones. Phones were still way down here where BlackBerries were like this, but because of the technology, phones were coming up. One of the partners thought that they should invest in phones because he could see where everything was going. Saw the vision. The other one did not, and it ended up moving from a $20 billion company to a $2 billion company in 1 year.
In 1 year?
1 year. Now, you've never heard of a BlackBerry anymore?
No, I don't. Yeah.
So that's just a little side note.
That's crazy, though. I never thought about that.
Yeah. And then we have our guest, Ernie, here today, too.
He took Ernie off of my mantle. If you guys are listening and not watching, it's like a mini skeleton that he picked up on the way into the office. He's like mid-size. Okay. I've seen like ones that are full size.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Like life size, 7 feet tall. Right. And I'm just like, why did you buy that and how'd you get it in your car?
Yeah. Home Depot.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So this episode, we want to backtrack. First off, we want to say thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting...
Have you had fun?
I've had fun.
I've had fun with it too.
We had a lot of fun recording our first few episodes, and yes, we were caught. Somebody was like, these are definitely pre-recorded, and they were pre-recorded.
Well, that's the way you start.
Yeah, we just wanted to get some under our belt, especially because these last month was super busy traveling. I felt like I went on a world tour, and I wanted to make sure that we were consistent. So we did pre-record some episodes, and now... With that being said, we've gotten your feedback as far as like, you don't like the shorter episodes. Have you seen those comments?
I have.
Okay.
We made it a little longer.
We made the last one longer and people liked that length a lot more. For some reason, people really like what you have to say.
Look.
Are you just as mind blown as me?
I've always known I was a wise guy. You know what? I'm gonna tell you what's really a trip. Actually, no, it's very complimentary, actually. But so I used to work at ChuckECheese, okay, years ago. I think I stopped working there when I was it was either my 40th birthday, maybe my 44th. But anyway, about 20 years ago, okay, I got the most wonderful message from a girl named I think it was Trina, but it's not Trina. Trini. Trina? Okay, anyway.
Something.
But she like commented.
Okay.
I think on my Instagram and said, hey, thanks a lot. It was great working with you. Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, okay, I'm not sure who's this. So then she reminded me, we were at Bell ChuckECheese in Burbank ChuckECheese.
Yeah.
But this is what was so wonderful about it. Now, this is 20 years ago. She was talking about how at the time she was not in a dark place, but not in a great place.
Okay.
But we had talked. And she said I gave her some advice and she said it was beneficial. So I've been doing this for a long time.
I didn't know where this story was going, but now I get it.
Well, here, I'll tell you.
But that is cool, because you would think 20 years ago, who knows what you were saying.
Yeah. Well, the thing was, when I worked working in fast foods and something like ChuckECheese, a lot of times I might be one of the older folks there at 20 years ago, even at 40 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was the GM. So a lot of my cast were, 16, 17, 18, 20-year-old young men and women.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I would do my best to try to help them. That's part of the joy that I got. I didn't get any joy out of, moving pizzas or, whatever.
I got to work with kids. One of your coolest jobs as a kid.
Yeah.
I thought it was so cool. I used to tell people my dad has a ChuckECheese.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool.
You know how I ended up at ChuckECheese?
From wanting to start a business to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
So me and your mom took you or your sister. You were probably both there, but there was a birthday party. I had never been to ChuckECheese.
Yeah, you told us this story and you were like, cha-ching, cha-ching. You heard all of the machines going on.
The machines, the food going. And I know pizza doesn't cost anything. It's like, there's dollar signs in here.
It's crazy to see how the stuff that we grew up doing is like non-existent anymore for our kids. So like, it's hard to find a ChuckECheese. I feel like a lot of ChuckECheese have got shut down. Another thing that Zach brought up the other day was like Toys R Us. Like,
there's no Toys R Us anymore?
Toys R Us went bankrupt forever ago and kind of got taken out, I think, by like the online world. But he just mentioned that Toys R Us is like opening 20 new stores. And I'm just like, are you sure? Or did you read a wrong article?
Who said that?
Zach. I'm going to Google it because he was stuck on the fact that Toys R Us was bankrupt when it went bankrupt. And he's like, our kids are never going to know what Toys R Us is.
No, you know what? People like Target took over that. I'm not saying Target per se, but they've opened up their toy aisles where it's 4 or 5 aisles now.
24 new Toys R Us flagship stores will open around the country beginning in 2024.
So maybe they're having a comeback.
They're having a comeback. But I'm still like, how are you going to come back when there's like Amazon and like a Target and all these places where you can go and buy all the same stuff?
I don't think it's the same though.
It's not the same. It's definitely not the same. It's
probably easier for you as mothers buying Christmas time, but it's not the same as taking a kid.
Yeah, no. And that's what Zach said.
Yeah, you want to see a little kid light up. Yeah, you take him into the...
He's like, you go in Toys R Us, you go down the bike lane, and you're riding the bikes. Like,
yeah.
That's his fond memory of Toys R Us. Yeah. Okay, so we want to go back into a few episodes and we kind of pulled some good questions, comments that you guys had, and we want to talk about those just because, like I said, they were pre-recorded, so we don't want to ignore that, like that conversation that we weren't allowed to have.
Right. Because we want feedback. And
yeah.
If you don't agree, just, don't agree.
Yeah.
I mean, tell us why you don't agree. We'd like to be able to have back and forth banter at some point.
Yeah. There's this app that I found where I think, I'm going to look it up, so don't quote me if I am wrong, but basically it would be like we would give you a number that you can call in.
Excuse me.
And almost leave like a voicemail. Bless you. To where we would be able to listen to it on the episode and then answer like directly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I found it the other day because I know you want to do some type of like where it can be call-in and it can be live.
Yeah.
I can't find that necessarily unless someone else has an idea of where we can find like a live or how to incorporate a live aspect to where you guys could call in and we could talk.
What if we did a Zoom call?
A Zoom could work, but I don't know. That's so scary. I don't want to see anybody. I'm scared. That scares me. I like the voicemail idea better.
If we knew what the subject matter would be.
Maybe if we knew the subject.
No, we know the subject and we throw the subject out there. And then whoever responded with the best kind of story or question, then we could give them the Zoom link.
And then they come on
and we could discuss.
Okay. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys like the voicemail idea better or the Zoom aspect?
Yeah. I just like the idea of trying to go live. She says I'd probably screw up. But
yeah.
Because I might say something. But
yeah.
Wait a minute. But is it really live, though? It's still recorded.
No, it's technically still recorded. But I guess it's still recorded.
If it's still really recorded, then it can still be edited out.
You guys don't understand how much I low-key have to edit my dad because I think that goes back to the generational thing of like there's certain things that he says that we now are like, oh no, you can't, say that. And I'm like, Dad, you can't say that. And he's like, but why? Like, and to his defense, he's not saying it like with ill manner or to offend anyone. He's just like, I don't understand. Like, since when is this word so sensitive? So there's been some.
Well, and then yes, true. And then there are some words that I hear are sensitive, and I just don't be silly.
Understand.
Don't be silly. Come on.
But we're not going to get into what words those are.
Yeah, you know I want to rattle them off. You know I just like to go. You can't say
I'm done with you already. Okay, so this person said, my question is for Kyle. How is it for you that you have daughters and just like your daughter R went through a bad situation with her mate, are you able to step back and let them handle it? Or do you get in there and want to protect your girls?
So, yes. I often do want to get in there, but I restrain myself. And it really depends on which guy I'm talking to. This like I talk very freely with Zach. You know, like I can go at Zach. You know, and I can tease him and prod him and everything else. But at the same time, you know, if there's something really serious on the table, I feel like I can talk to him. You know, this man to man. I could do that with Corey also. With Mez, I have to be a little bit more protective and watch because he's very defensive. Or he gets defensive. He thinks that I'm not gonna say what he thinks. It feels to me like when we're talking, if he's not in agreement, that I'm attacking him. And I may not be doing necessarily that, but maybe his style or something. But generally, back to the real question, I generally don't jump in. Usually what I'll do is I will talk to one of my daughters and maybe give them a little bit of a way to look at the particular problem to angle out of it. Just like actually yesterday, Kyle called me.
I heard.
And there was a time where she was kind of hinting like, I wish somebody could just call him. And I know what she was saying. I know how to read the code.
She wants you to step in right now.
Yes, I know she does. But because, and you know what? I think if I had the same relationship with Mez that I do with Zach, it'd be easier to step in.
Yeah, but you don't.
I don't. No. You know, I think Mez he's more guarded against me. He doesn't understand that I'm really on his side. You know, he doesn't.
But I don't think that it's just you. I would say that he's guarded with all of us.
It may be.
And I think it's just more so of, I feel like he thinks, and I blame Kyle a little bit for it also, because I think in a way Kyle played a role into him being guarded towards us, if that makes sense.
Why? Why do you say that? I
feel like she probably, like from what I've heard, it seems like, okay, let's say if Kyle and I get in a fight, she tells Mez about our fight. So that's how he would view me. But she doesn't tell Mez about all the other good times. You get what I mean?
Yes.
So it's like if you tell somebody the negative about them, then that's what they hold on to, but you're not telling them all the good stuff. So like, for example, if I was dating right now and I told my mom, like me and Zach are dating, and I always told my mom when Zach and I would fight or what the fight is, every time she sees him, all she's going to view is this negative image of this fight. Instead of like, and when I tell her about when Zach gives me flowers or Zach is nice or Zach cleaned the house or anything like that. But if all she hears is negative or the rants, then he's just going to always have this negative idea about them.
Gotcha.
And I feel like, not to say that's what Kyle did, but I do think that Mez kind of side eyes all of us and he's trying to figure us all out. And I think a part of that is like, what have you heard, or why do you think that about us?
I don't see it that way. I see it more of he's, as you say, side eyes us. I think it's more so of, I don't know. I want to say like there's a lack of trust, but I don't even think that's it. I think he is just, some people are just defensive. Yeah. If you say, unless you're praising them, patting them in the back, if you try to get them constructive criticism or give them a different way to, and the only reason I say that is because I know there's a couple of times I've talked to him or talk about a situation, and his defense mechanism is to talk about me. take a small time shot at me. And I've seen this before. It's not, he's not the first that's done this.
Yeah.
So, when I see this, I recognize it. And then I just back down because they're not going to hear what I'm trying to say anyway.
Yeah.
Because they're too busy defending their space, their honor, their name, their reputation. And it's not about trying to take a shot at them. It's about a method, a way, that something that they were doing or not doing.
Is it like to deflect?
It is kind of to deflect, yes.
Would you look at that as being like disrespectful?
Well, the comments can be disrespectful, but I understand.
I understand
what's happening. It's really just an inability to understand the situation.
Yeah.
Or another way you can say it is a lack of maturity, or it's a lack of communicative skills. And usually it's listening. You're not hearing it.
Yeah.
You're hearing certain things, and then the wall goes up. Now I got to defend. Now things are coming out. And a lot of times I just, I let the shots, I bounce them. Just, it's,
So would you say you have different like boundaries with the guys?
Yeah, without a doubt. I think me and Corey have a good relationship. I'd put that as and you know what the thing is? I want me and Mez to have a good relationship too. Mm-hmm. He needs more space though. Because again, I think he interprets people as being on the attack, at least with me. And I'm not. I'm trying to share.
I don't think that he thinks that you can truly be unbiased.
He might believe that. And I mean, a lot of people, he could possibly believe that. Okay. But I am pretty close to unbiased. I mean,
Where Zach would be like, I'm calling your dad. I'm like, he's not about to take your side. He's like, just wait. Just see what side he takes.
If his side makes sense.
He views you as being very unbiased and more like literal with certain things to where like, if I can't see it, he's like, let me get someone else who I can maybe match you at your level to get you to see it in a different way.
Yeah.
I don't think that Mez thinks that you are unbiased when it comes to us, which may be why he's defensive.
Look, in the absolute, I am probably very biased in the absolute. Mm-hmm. But if I'm having a conversation with somebody, I can be very unbiased. I mean, I could take it like you are my child. I could talk to that person. I don't mean child isn't.
Yeah.
I could talk to that person with the same level of respect, trust, honesty that I would talk to you.
Yeah, I've seen you do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's, and I could hear what they're saying without considering you, So I just got to get a little, I haven't found the way quite yet with Mez. I think in time, because he's going to be around forever.
Yeah.
Not like he's going anywhere.
Right. So back to their question, do you think that because of the different boundaries you have with the different guys, you don't step in with Kyle as much as you might step in with me? Or do you think that
it depends on the severity? It depends on the severity with Kyle. Like when the thing happened and she was in DC and it was time to go, it was like, no, look, I got to go. Yeah. Let's go. I'm in.
Yeah.
You don't need to say too much. You said enough. I know what's going on. Let's go. I'm right smack in the middle of it. There he is. There I am. There she is.
Yeah.
Let's bring the rest of the family. I'm still right smack in the middle of it. Okay. But that was a little bit of a
more severe.
It was a little bit serious, a little more severe. It needed action right then.
Yesterday when she called you and she wants you to call him, you're like,
you can still work that out.
Back?
But I gave her, I think what I gave her was really
good advice.
I think really good advice.
I heard the advice.
Okay. What'd you think?
Mom and I both agreed with it.
Yeah. I thought it was really,
and Kyle already said she's down to come back to film another episode, so I would love to bring her in on this conversation. And maybe she can share her point of view with how she feels about whether or not you should step in or not.
Okay.
Me personally, I realized that Zach and I are young and very young in like everything, young in marriage and ownership of a home, young with our kids, young with finances, young with our mindsets. Like we're very young in it, and we do like, at times we do like hearing our more seasoned people in our lives help and opinion, and we need it even when we don't want to hear it and we want everybody to leave us alone and we think we know it all. We end up putting our foot in our mouth, and then later on we're like, damn,
Damn,
we should have listened. So I would say for us, it is a little different. And especially when it's different when that person calls on you. Like, it's different when, like, Zach calls on you more so than you calling on him to tell him about himself. You get what I mean? Like, that's a difference.
Yeah.
Where I don't think, like, you and Mez have that relationship where I feel like you guys could benefit from having a relationship where you feel like you can call on each other.
Right.
It's not so one-sided.
Right.
But
well, I try to make sure that they, all three of them, meaning Zach, Corey, Mez, if they ever want to call me, you know, I'm picking up the phone.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't care if you cuss me out 2 days before, bro.
Yeah.
Throw a rock in my window. I'm not tripping.
And I don't think there's ever really been like a situation where you've necessarily had to step in with Corey and I. We don't really, maybe like years ago, but.
No, you know, the biggest thing in stepping in with Corey was to make sure that he was warmly welcomed into the family.
So that was like 6 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's still though. You know, people still need reassurances.
Yes.
You know, and, you know, I always let him know. I think he, you know, does a great job in terms of, you know, his kids.
Yeah.
He's got 3 kids now.
Yeah, he does.
Dang, 6 years. He went from 0 to, you know, that's.
So I was, you know,
it's just like when every once in a while I see his feed and, you know, he's got everybody, him and Maya and Mila, everybody's in Kyle, I mean, Little Ryder, all have their, you know, like their Rams uniforms on, and they're out playing in the park or whatever. You know, I mean, I just love to see that stuff. You know, that's a father.
Yeah.
You know, right there in the moment, every day, you know, every day in the moment. So, you know. I always, you know, I like to pat him on the back. There's even when the boys went out and stayed with Mez over the summer. Mm-hmm. There was some pictures one day I saw, and I don't know if
did you comment?
I did. I don't know if I saw him on Mez's feed or if I saw him on Kyle's feed, but I wanted to comment to Mez. I think I commented to Mez. You know, just like, you know, nice pics, good to see.
Yeah. He did. Know. When he had the boys over the summer, I liked how he put Boz in camp. Yeah. And then he takes him to the gym. He takes him to the park. Like, I like to see, you know, that he was really active with them when he had them. I thought that was great.
You know who has the best smile when they smile? Boz.
Oh,
when Boz smiles, he just has the best.
He's so damn happy.
His whole face lights up.
Yes.
You know, when
we got back from Indiana. We went to Jade's wedding, and I got back home. My sister had Ace, and she had her boys, of course. And when we got there, I was like, all right, Ace, it's time to go. I was so freaking tired coming off of our other... the other trip, and then
1 or 2 days rest, back on the road again.
Had 1 day in between, back on the road. And Boz looks at me and goes, Auntie, I want to come to your house. And I'm just thinking, little boy, I want to go to sleep. And then I look at Zach, and Zach goes, I'm going to go ask his mom. So then Zach goes in the kitchen and asks Kyle, and Kyle's like, Boz, they're tired. Like, they've been going back to back to back for weeks. They're exhausted. And Boz was like, I don't care. I want to go to Auntie's house. So we packed Boz up and brought him with us, and he was just so happy.
Yeah.
He's just so happy.
No Zaire? Just Boz?
Well, we couldn't fit them all in the car, so Kyle ended up coming later with Zai. Because Zai, and it's crazy that Boz and Righty are so close, and then Zaire and Ace are really closer. They're only 4 months apart, so they're like little diaper buddies running around the house. And Zaire, that personality on that kid, I don't even know how to explain it. But we were shooting a podcast in here on the couch, and he just started crawling in. And I said, Kyle, what horror movie film is this happening in front of us? It was the strangest thing ever. Okay, I want to try to get through a few more questions that people said. So the next one is, it's a 2-part question. I'm going to do the bottom half first because I feel like the top half you're going to want to talk a lot about.
Okay, all right.
So the bottom half says, this goes along with your it's not a problem unless you make it one. How about your kids get in trouble for being problematic in class? Do you make it a problem then?
I don't think so.
Okay, why not? See, this is where I struggle with your it's not a problem, let's make it. Okay. How is that not a problem?
Okay. First, you of course you're going to talk to you. Why? Because I was a class clown.
Clown and problematic is different.
You're causing a problem in the class.
Okay, never mind.
Okay, you're causing it's a first of all, you got to understand what it is. It's a room full of kids. Okay,
I never thought about
That's what it is. It's a room full of kids. You think each and every kid can sit up there during circle time and be like this? No, you're gonna have a crazy Bobby and a crazy Billy, or a restless Melissa. So happens to be your kid. It's just kids. It's a room full of kids.
Okay, So you still don't think it's a problem?
I don't think it's a problem.
So how do you handle it?
I think that's their personality. Well, you're going to have to talk to them. Okay? You're going to have to say, look, Billy, I need you to slow down a little bit, during circle time. Okay? Mrs. Teacher is, starting to be a little bit annoyed with you. I need you to sit down, be quiet a little bit. Maybe you go and visit a couple times during circle time. Or whenever the problem time. Maybe it's recess. He's too aggressive. Some kids are more aggressive than others. Some kids are like this. Some kids are like, hey, let's go.
Yeah.
But to turn it into a problem, no. It's a little correction that needs to be done. I agree. I go with that. Look, even if the young guy or young lady is hyper, clinically hyper.
Yeah.
I mean, this got a lot of energy to burn. Okay, well, now you realize what you're dealing with. Look, after school, you got to run him a mile. Get a dog, let him run that mile and burn that energy off.
What if this person is saying this and their kid's like a teenager? What would your advice be then? Because it's different. Yeah, it's different if we're not speaking circle time. It's different if we're thinking
a teenager being problematic. Now that's
a high school age.
Okay, so now you're dealing with a little bit more maturity where you can actually sit down and talk to the person in a more adult style, get them to understand the repercussions from their actions. And if the young man, young lady understands the repercussion of their actions and they continue to act in a certain way, then they should face the repercussions. Okay? They need to learn that. They need to learn, look, if you're going to screw up all the time, you're going to get screwed all the time. If you're going to give and give cooperation and consideration, then that's what you're going to get back. So if you're going to be a butthole, people are going to treat you like a butthole. So, but it's nice that they're at that age where you can explain this to them.
Yeah.
Now, if they continue to go down that rabbit hole, well, let them face the consequences of what they're doing.
I mean, how far do you take that?
Well, look,
if the consequences are your kid's going to get kicked out of school the next time they do this, it's like, do you sit back and let them learn that lesson and get kicked out of school? Or it's like, at what point do you...
Well, you're going to try... Yes, you're going to try to get in there and intervene, okay? You have to try to get in and help guide them and all that. And as the parent, if they are acting up, you have to take a little of that responsibility. That maybe you gave them too much leeway when they were younger and this is carrying on. Maybe it's their personality. Maybe they're rebelling against something within the household that maybe you haven't thought about. Like, I know a lot of times kids start acting out when families start to break up or if there's arguments in the house, if it's a hostile situation. Maybe it's something within their living area, their living space that you as a parent need to examine, and maybe that's affecting them, particularly if their actions are new. If they used to be a good kid, now all of a sudden they're acting up. Well, what has changed?
See, this is when I would say I would love to do it live, because it's like a question like this. I have so many questions before I feel like I can answer the question. Like, I want to know how old your kid is, or what grade they're in, or have there been any lifestyle changes to where they are being problematic in the class. So it goes back to the beginning of the episode. I would love to know if you guys think we should figure out how to do this live or with a person on Zoom. Maybe if we do it once a month, maybe it's not every episode, but once a month, we can actually have a real conversation with someone, not just reading a DM.
Right. Now, on this same subject, I just want to kick one more thing in, because we went from, a very young age, 4, 5, 6,
high school,
to maybe 12, 13, 14. Now, if they're that 16, 17, 18, as a parent, you probably can't talk to them.
You don't think so?
They don't want to hear it from you.
So then what do?
You need to bring somebody else in.
Like who?
I don't know, a mentor, a coach, maybe it's an uncle, maybe it's somebody that's their age, maybe a couple years older, that you know their personality, you know their persona. You ask them to talk to your son or daughter. You know, somebody that they will, kids go through a certain phase. They just want to hear it from the parents. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Come on, we've been through that.
Yeah.
So you have to bring in, that's when you got to sit back. You got to be smart. You got to be smarter than the kid and bring in some help. Maybe it's counseling, but I think you can get family or, it might be as simple as, finding a football coach that they do respect. Or if it's a woman, somebody
Yeah.
outside of.
What do you think about putting kids in therapy?
It depends on what you're putting there. First of all, let me say that I have no problem with therapy. Mm-hmm. Okay. I think therapy, particularly if the parent is having a difficult time understanding and getting to their child.
Yeah.
Because where you're having a difficult time, maybe someone else would find that road in. Okay. Because again, kids don't always like to listen to their parents. They never think their parents make sense.
Yeah.
So somebody else might make perfect sense to them. And they might be saying the same exact things you'd say as a parent. But since it's coming from someone else. So yes, I'd say therapy. But the reason I hesitated when you asked the question is because sometimes I think people take things a little bit too serious too quickly. Just like the same question. Mm-hmm. If this is a, 4, 5, 6-year-old.
I don't think they need to go to therapy.
Yeah, I mean, but still, if they're being a little rambunctious and it's been categorized as a problematic child, then see, I think you're taking it a little bit too fast. Too big to me. You're making it a problem when it doesn't have to be a problem. Yes.
Oh my God. Okay, the first part of her question was this. Talk about kids and religion and forcing them to go to church or not. If so, until what age?
What do you think?
So growing up, we went to church. I remember going to church. I remember going to Sunday school. And I remember it being fairly consistent. And now that I'm an adult and have kids, and now that we've moved, like one of the things that Zach and I have talked about is finding a church home out here. Like I went to a church back in LA. I don't necessarily want to make that drive every Sunday. I'm going to be completely honest.
Yeah,
I think I'm just too lazy.
Yeah.
But we have been looking for a church home out here. And one of the things I said is I want them to have a Sunday school. I remember going to Sunday school. And I don't remember hating it. I don't remember necessarily liking it either, but I don't remember hating it. So, and I feel like it brought good structure and kind of introduces you to God and the stories of the Bible and stuff like that. So I would love for my kids to start going to Sunday school. It's something that I actually talked to Corey about also. And it will be easier once he moves. They're moving closer to Ryder School, which is closer to us, to where if I wanted her to be consistent with church, and if, let's say, he didn't want to bring her, she'd be close enough to where we could pick her up, take her to Sunday school, and take her back to her dad's. I do want to start that for my kids. Do I want it to be forced? I think right now, yeah. If it was something they didn't want to do, I would make them go. I think it's a good foundation to have. If they're 15, 16, and they're like, this isn't what I want to do, then I would tell them, go figure out what you want to do. Like, I don't want to force my kids to believe in God, but I want them to believe in something. I want them to believe in some form of spirituality. So if it's like, no, I don't want to be a Christian, then I would ask them, like, well, go study to figure out something else. If it's Buddhism, if you want to read the Quran, like, I just want them to have all of the cards before making a decision. So I feel like right now at this age, I would force it though, but my kids are 2 and 6. Mm-hmm. But I think when that high school age, when they're just not listening, I don't think I would force my kids in high school to go to church. If they genuinely are like, I don't believe in this, I don't want to do it. Yeah. If it's like I went out last night with my friends and I'm tired, then get your ass up. Like, I think I would have to have they would have to have a real reason as to why they don't want to go to church.
You can always put stipulations on there. If it depends on, let's say they're I don't know, 16, 17. Let's say you got them a car. Let's say they go out Friday night, Saturday night. And say, okay, you got that car. I need you ready Sunday morning.
Okay, so what do you think?
So I think, yes, church. If I had kids again right now, I'd make sure my kids were in church. Okay, I'd make sure that they heard and learned the stories of the Bible. There's a really cool dude in there, Jesus. I'd like them to really understand how he lived his life. Mm-hmm. You know, how he was forgiving, patient, sharing. You know, that he took on others when the community shunned these others. You know, whether it be, you know, lepers or prostitutes or whatever the case may be. You know, he found those black sheep and said, "Come on,
yeah, you
know, come on, hang out,
yeah,
let's talk about it." You know, as in, you know, so you know that particular, those particular traits that Jesus displayed, I'd like my kids, my grandkids. I try to, you know, I just think that that's a great role model.
Right.
Okay.
And I think that's what I mean when I say the foundation.
Yeah. So yeah, because I mean, you know, as a parent, what are you trying to do? You're trying to give them the difference between right and wrong, at least in our society. This is what's right. This is what's considered wrong. I think the Bible does a good job of helping to paint that picture. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, would I force it on them? No, I'd probably, you know, we're probably pretty similar. Where no, if they got to a certain age.
What age? They're asking until what age do you force it?
You know, I think I would probably be good keeping them in 12, 13. I'm thinking about me at 12 and 13, though. It wasn't happening. I mean, this just wasn't happening. I was, you know, but I think mine is a little bit different because most people aren't growing up. I would keep them in as long as possible. Yeah. Definitely till 12.
So 12. 13.
You know, if you could get them in, let me tell you something. If they're still in there at 16 and enjoying it, man, you got it good. Yeah. I think you really do. You know, because those are the tough years when influences start to come in. You know, and at church, I'm hoping, as you know, most people, that the influences are positive influences, mm-hmm. as opposed to this influences that they picking up at high school or wherever.
Yeah.
You know.
So you'd say probably that 12, 13 age where it would start to get a little tricky.
It might get a little tricky then, but then you keep them in as long as possible. And maybe you have to do an incentive plan at this point where, you know, you want certain privileges, you know, to be able to go spend the night at, you know, Sarah's house, you know, every other weekend, whatever. I said, well, look, I'll give you this, but I need church next Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, Mom, I need a new sweater. Fine. We going to church next Sunday? You know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would just keep that as part of this as a parent. This is what I'd like to do. And I don't have a problem bribing you or paying you to do it.
Yeah, I mean, we bribe our kids for everything else.
Yeah, so I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, it is.
Throw church in there also.
Yeah. But no, I think church is a great foundation.
Yeah.
Now, what if you got to a point where your child did say, well, no, you know, they're 15, 16, trying to figure things out, and all of a sudden they're an atheist?
So that would be tough for me. I'm not sure what I would do because I feel like it's one thing if you say like, oh, I don't want to be a Christian. I want to be a Catholic or I want to be a Buddhist. Like I would still be like, okay, well, at least they believe in something.
You know, some people have a big problem with that too.
I don't have a problem with that because I just feel like me personally, I want you to just believe in like a spiritual being, mm-hmm. a higher power, mm-hmm. something that's greater than you. I don't care what you call it because I feel like it all depends on where you were born. You call it something different.
A lot of that is true.
I think just depending on where you're born, that's what you call it. Yeah. And I know a lot of people would disagree with that.
Can you explain that a little bit?
I feel like this is a conversation we've had so many times, so it's going to sound like I'm just like repeating what you say.
Well, okay.
But is it basically what it is what we've talked about is that sometimes religion can be, when I say where you were born, so if you were born in the Middle East, then you're probably Muslim and you believe in Allah because that's what is taught where you're at. Over here, we're taught Christianity or Catholic. We're going to Asia, we're taught Buddhism. So it's all based off of like where you're born and where you're from. So do I have a problem if my son or my daughter decide I want to study something else? I wouldn't have a problem, even though I'm Christian, I believe in God. I still want them to make that choice themselves as to which higher power you're going to pray to. I think the power of prayer is just for everybody. It's all around. I don't care who it's going to. I do think that it's all going to a central location, and maybe it's all these people sitting at a table laughing at us like.
So let me ask you this. Do you think God has a name?
No.
Okay.
Not necessarily. I think that there is something higher than all of us.
Okay. So let's say you have religion C.
Okay.
And they're praying to God.
Okay.
And then you have religion D, which is different than religion C.
Okay.
And they're praying to God.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the same God that they're praying to?
I think it's all the same.
So even though one calls him C and the other one calls herself D,
I think it's
when they pray, it's all going to the same source.
I think that it's all the same source, and maybe it's not all the same source. Maybe there's all these different people. Maybe God's sitting up there at a table next to a Buddha or a monk and some Catholic person, and who else is there? And Allah, like maybe there's all these people up there looking at us like, look at these dummies down there arguing about this shit, and we're all sitting right here.
Right.
So we're all sitting here hanging out. So I don't know the answer to that. I just personally would love if my child had the foundation of believing in a higher power and the power of prayer and the foundations that the Bible does teach.
Why is it important for them to believe in a higher power?
I think it just, to me, the importance would come from knowing that there's more than like just you. Like, I feel like if you don't, I believe in a higher power and I know that there's something greater than me. And there's like a realm of what I pray to, basically. I want the kids to have the same idea of, you know, you're praying with intention, like you're praying to manifest, you're praying. And I feel like if you think you're praying and it's just going into space, then are you praying with intention? Like, are you genuine? Are you really manifesting it?
Okay.
But we pray. I mean, our kids pray. Our kids know how to pray. Ryder prays, and she prays very well. And I've asked Ryder plenty of times to tell me what God looks like, and it's changed over the years, but she will sit there and describe this man.
Okay.
And 1 year's been a man, 1 year's been a woman. God has changed and evolved in Ryder's eyes many times. Ace is at the parrot stage, so anything that Rye prays, he follows, you know, a few words behind, he follows. But we have taught our kids to pray. We have like the Veggie Tales Christian books, the little nighttime stories from Veggie Tales that Ryder likes to read.
Nice.
And then Zach put in Ace's room the same children's Bible book that he had as a baby. We have for Ace now. So we are trying to do better with it.
Sylvie does better than Zach did.
Yeah. But Zach is one of those kids where he said it was forced on him and he hated it. So he's like, I would never force my kids to go. And I think it's a little different right now. At this age, I would force them to go.
Well, I don't even call it forcing at this point. At this point, you're just trying to build a foundation, introduce it.
I think when they're older, I feel like that's when Zach and I are going to butt heads on certain things where he's like, with Ace, I want to do this. And I'm just looking at him like, I don't want to do that. Like, there's just certain things that I would disagree with, but we are like, let's just cross that bridge when we get there. We got like 16 years. So
there you go.
Let's chalk that one up and not even argue about it right now. But I do like the church conversation. I once again I want to know, like, how old is the kid?
Well, again, certainly 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. If you could get them, if you could keep them going, you let that ride as long as it possibly can.
Yeah.
Okay. Even if you have to get to the point where, and I mean, I would do the Bible, the summer Bible camp.
Ooh, church camp.
Yes, I would do. I don't think I ever went. I don't think so. I might have. I'd go into camps. Maybe they were church and I didn't know it. But I would. But I don't remember this being, hitting the head, with this, that, and the other had to do with religions.
I did stuff like that.
Yeah? Did we send you that?
Yeah, you don't remember? And
yeah, see, that's what I'm telling you. That's what I would do.
I did one summer where we went to, I went with my Bible group. We went to Nicaragua and we built a church.
I remember that.
We had to teach the kids like Bible things.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I would definitely do that. I would let that run as long as you possibly can.
That was one of the best experiences I've ever had.
Yeah. Yeah, you could, and something like that, you learn to be humble too, because you see how much you really have in comparison to other parts of the world.
I came back and wanted to give up all my worldly goods. It lasted for like 3 days, but
it lasted a little longer than that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you had it for a little longer than that.
Thank you.
Yeah, but you were ready to be a contributor.
Kyle said I was ready to be a Bible thumper.
There's nothing wrong with Bible thumping.
I definitely was one back in high school, but anyway, there was one other question we wanted to talk about. It was on your phone.
That was it on there?
Yeah.
I forgot what was it on my phone.
But I want to table this one because this
one that I'm about to pull up right now?
Yeah, we can read it, and I'm going to tell you why I want to table it.
Okay.
So this comment was on the YouTube channel. It says, I really enjoyed this and the TLC podcast. With the stranger danger conversation, I loved it. I was just watching The Sound of Freedom, which is on the subject of child and sex trafficking. I would appreciate on either podcast, but really want to hear from an old school parent point of view, since the little kiddos are now involved in some modeling and they're all over social media, TV, etc. I don't ever post my son or allow anyone to post him simply because the world is cruel. Just curious on safety precautions you take, especially Cheyenne with Ryder being in fashion shows now. So the only reason why I want to table this is because this is like, I feel like it's a sign that I need to go and watch The Sound of Freedom. Mm-hmm. Someone else called me a few days ago and asked me to please watch it. And they're like, I want you to watch it. And then I want you to talk about it, like on social media. I want you to broadcast it. I want you to bring more light to it. It was right in the midst of me being on a plane off, and I was just going crazy. And I remember, now that I've read it, I remember the conversation. Yeah. And then my best friend Remy also sent it to me a few times, like, Chey, you have to watch this. And I will say that I have not watched it, and I definitely want to watch it and then talk about it next week. So I think we should do that for our homework.
That's fine.
I think we should both go watch it, and then that will be our whole conversation for the next episode. Right. Because I feel like I can give my like basic surface level answer, but I want to give one after watching the movie.
I would too. This is only one thing I'd like to say about
that one.
Yeah. Is the world's not cruel. She said she doesn't post her child for whatever reason because it's a cruel world.
Do you care to elaborate?
I don't even think I need to elaborate. I mean, yes, I can. The world is not, I don't think you should walk with that philosophy, because now you make things a whole lot tighter than they need to be. Yes, there's some stuff going on, without a doubt. There's bullying, there's bad things, there's wars, there's dumb shit going on. But is it a cruel place? That is a statement. It's a cool place. Okay? You got to make it cool. You got to keep the cruel away, the bad guys out of your hair. You got to walk on the right side of the street to stay out of trouble. But is it a cruel place? I don't think so. Even for those that are in a lot worse situation than us. I mean, look, if you are living in one of these war-torn countries right now, and you're in the middle of it, now you have the right to say it's a cruel place. Because you're watching bombs hit your shelter. Yeah. If you're in, Senegal, if you're in the Congos going through what's been a civil war for years and years, if you're over in Ukraine and your neighbor's house is getting blown up, okay. If you live in the United States, Australia, Europe, UK, there's a whole lot worse that's going on. That's all we're saying. We'll get back to that. I thought that was a nice question.
No, I think it's a great question. I just want to go and watch the movie, and I want to then be able to answer your question.
Yeah.
I feel like too many people this week have told me, so I I got
okay.
it.
So you got the omen.
I got the sign.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in this week to Unfiltered Kitchen's podcast. Don't forget to follow us on Unfiltered Kitchen on Instagram and on our YouTube channel. We're going to do much better at commenting back on every comment. We've definitely have tried, but we're going to do better at that. And you can follow me at Chey Not Chey.
You can follow me at Pretty Boy Floyd 3.
All right, guys. We'll talk next week.
All right. See you guys later. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to
like, comment, and
subscribe. Tell the truth. I don't care about the subscription. I don't care about the. I just like the comments. I like to read. What's up, big man? High five. Bam. All right.
Yeah, Papa stole our skeleton.